Welcome, photographers, designers, and other creatives, to this episode of Coaching for Creatives, where I'm going to give you my top 6 productivity tips to help you out in your freelance business. So many of us who are freelancers are wearing all the hats in our business. We are often juggling lots of different kinds of tasks and to-dos, and especially when we are wanting to grow our business, there seems to be so many things and not enough time. We need to find different ways to be able to get more done, feel less stressed, make more money, and run our creative business with confidence. My number one tip for you, the one I'm going to start off with, is the one that is sometimes a big surprise for my clients. And that one is, number one, know your own rhythm. What do I mean by know your own rhythm? What I mean is that most of the creatives that I know are not your typical 9-to-5 kind of worker bees who are going to be able to get things done in a set amount of time and be super consistent every single day. Most of the creatives that I know are creative thinkers, and they're multi-passionate, and sometimes they do their best work from like 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. or sometimes they do their best work first thing in the morning, or sometimes they do their best work between 3 and 5 p.m. What I am really inviting you to do is to look at your own rhythms, your own energy, your own creativity, your own flow states. When is the best time for you to be doing things that require ideas and innovation? That time you want to set aside for doing that work. When is the best time for you to be doing something like data entry or something that doesn't require a lot of focus? When is your best time for doing something that is typically challenging for you, whether that might be writing copy or working with numbers? Really knowing, oh, I actually do better at doing this kind of work at different times in the day. That's my number one tip, is know yourself, because most of the creatives that I work with try to structure their day or structure their business around traditional business norms or traditional business standards. And you are a freelancer. You don't have to do that. You can have autonomy over your time and figure out a way to run your life in a way that's going to help you be as productive as you possibly can. Tip number 2 for productivity is to set boundaries. Once you know what your own rhythms are, set some boundaries around it. Protect your flow state. Set yourself up for success around that. When I say set boundaries, I mean environmental boundaries, communication boundaries. I'm even like the channels that you get communicated in, and time boundaries. Environmental, time boundaries, and communication boundaries. And I did a whole video on setting boundaries that I'll link to later for you. But the basis of this is, once you know your own rhythm, don't make yourself available for interruptions during the time when you want to be most focused. Once you know your own rhythm, set those creative brief meetings when you're on fire and you're just revved up. Do your best to invite the meetings during that time. Set boundaries so that you can protect your most creative states. All right. Number 3, what you want to do then is learn how to prioritize. When we have these lists of all these things to do, and each of them requires a different hat or a different aspect of a way of approaching them or a different way of thinking, and they seem to, or they feel like they are all equally important, you can be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, going from one task to the next task to the next task, because they all feel so urgent and so important. One of the things that I offer you is being able to prioritize and distinguish between what is actually urgent and what is important, and what might be both urgent and important, and what might be neither one of those. Learning how to prioritize your tasks can take a lot of practice. And there are all kinds of different frameworks for being able to prioritize things. And one of the things is finding a method of prioritization that works for you. Again, knowing your own rhythm and trying on different ways of being to be able to set yourself up for being as productive as possible in your freelance creative business. Here's one other thing about prioritizing. Most prioritizing methodologies help you connect to not just what's most important, what's most urgent, what's both urgent and important, but they help you connect to why is it important to you? Why does it matter to you? And knowing that something is both a priority and it's important to you and why it matters, that can keep you motivated. And motivation and desire to actually take the action are a big piece of being able to stay productive. That prioritization piece can have a ripple effect across your ability to get things done. Great. Okay, now number 4. Now that you know your priorities, number 4 is to plan your time. Often my clients get really overwhelmed by looking at all the things that they have to do to run a successful business. It's a lot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot of things to do. One of the ways that you can give yourself more ease, less stress, and in fact, even end up doing less work, yes, doing less work, is by planning your time. I like doing time blocking because sometimes I don't necessarily feel like doing specific tasks or, specific things during a amount of time, but knowing, oh, I'm going to spend 2 hours on admin. I'm going to spend 2 hours on marketing. And then within those 2 hours, I can be wildly creative and I can do whatever kind of marketing that I want to be doing. I really like time blocks to be able to just know that there's space in my week for me to actually get the things done on my list. Removing that stress, that anxiety, that overwhelm is a really great support in being able to get it done. Because let me tell you, if you are stressed and overwhelmed and you just don't feel like it's even possible, you're probably not going to take action. And if you don't take action, you don't get the results. Planning your time. And oh my gosh, we're already at number 5. Once you're planning your time, track your time. Tracking your time is a tool for being able to celebrate your progress, to be able to reward yourself for doing things even before you get to that end game. It is a way of staying motivated and staying connected to things are actually improving and changing. It's giving you a way to acknowledge the work that you're doing. I am a huge fan of celebrating and acknowledging progress. Can I get a whoop whoop for evidence of awesome? And one of the ways that you're able to do that is by tracking your time and tracking your progress in getting through things. My absolute favorite way to do this is checking things off a to-do list. The number one reason why I haven't used a productivity app is that physical experience of actually checking things off on a list and looking back at a list full of things that have been checked off. Oh, that feeling is so gratifying. And again, find what works for you. If you're the kind of person who really likes seeing it on a spreadsheet, then make spreadsheets. If you like seeing it in a calendar, then use a calendar. There's no right way to track your progress. The only wrong way is to not do it at all, to not notice and acknowledge and see how you're progressing along the way. Everybody's going to have their own methodology and their own way for being able to access the power of tracking your progress, celebrating your successes, and also then seeing where you can improve and what kinds of things you can let go. Again, doing a lot of these things is going to have you actually have less to do and be better at getting the stuff you have left done. It's amazing. Okay, the last one here, number 6 in the 6 tips for productivity is accountability. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when I make a promise to myself and I say, "Ooh, I'm going to do this," I check in with myself and I see, okay, what's my level of commitment out of 10? Sometimes it's like a 3 out of 10 and I'm just shooting on myself and I think I should be doing this, but I really am not committed to it. Sometimes my level of commitment can be as high as an 8 or a 10. I'm totally committed. I'm going to be unstoppable. Here I go. It's going to get done. And then it doesn't necessarily get done. And why is that? I've found that for me, things don't get done if I don't set myself up for accountability. I tend to let myself down more often than I will let other people down. I'm more likely to break a commitment to myself than I am to break a commitment to other people. For me, accountability really looks like having another person in my life where I declare, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be held accountable for. And then I go back and I say, this is what I did. This is what I didn't do. And I have some accountability for what I'm committing to. Accountability can look a whole lot of different ways. One of my favorite things about the Business Accelerator Mastermind community is the way that it creates an experience of accountability without being super rigid or super defined. Within that community, because you're there every week, because you're sharing your wins and your progresses, your obstacles, your challenges, each week, the whole business mastermind gets to see how you're progressing or where you're stuck. And it's a really wonderful way to reach out and say, hey, I really want this for my life and my business. And now you can be held gently and embraced in accountability by the community and by the group. There's a bazillion different ways of how accountability can work. It can be a buddy, it can be a group, it can be a coach, it can be something even external for yourself. It might just be writing 3 things on a list that you're going to get done on the day and checking them off. You might be your own great accountability partner. In my experience, however, external accountability partners rock. I'm going to review them for you. Number 1 is knowing yourself. Know your own rhythms. Know when you are at your peak in terms of energy and focus and creativity, and when you are at your lows. Number 2, set boundaries around your time to protect yourself and to make sure that you are doing the tasks that are going to leverage those rhythms, that you have actually protected yourself from distraction and interruption during the times when you need to have flow. Number 3, prioritize. Review that seemingly endless list of to-dos and be able to choose what is most important and urgent for you to do in that moment and why. Number 4, plan your time. Make sure that you have set aside space in your life, in your business, in your day-to-day to get the stuff done that you know is important to you. Number 5, track your progress. Make sure that you are tracking what's working, what you're doing, and what's getting done. And number 6, set yourself up with an accountability partner or community so that you stay consistent in moving towards your goals and your dreams. That's it for today. Always open to hear what kind of productivity tips you have. Please post them in the comments, and we will see you here next time on Coaching for Creatives. Have a great week.